Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, we're going to hopefully repair that Apple IIGS logic board. It's not a major repair, but it requires a lot of desoldering. And that kind of segues us into a little side trip. My radio business has been booming lately. I've been getting more orders for radio rebuilds and repairs and mods than I ever imagined. I've done more radios this month than I expected to do in an entire year when I first started this venture. And the word is getting out. A Miata club in California, Southern California, obviously, has gotten my name, and it's just, they haven't sent me anything yet, but I'm told that there's stuff coming. But I focused on Miata stereos because I'm in a lot of those forums anyway. And by focusing on one particular, or two models, or maybe three models of stereos. Oh yeah, I've got three more on their way, by the way. I got three in the shop. These are almost done. It's crazy. The fortunate thing is I've been able to justify purchasing some pretty reasonable equipment, and I'm going to share with you what I use for equipment, because I feel that I wouldn't promote something that I didn't believe in. I use these machines every day, and literally every day now, and I'm very happy with them. So we'll start off with the soldering station. The Hakko FX888D is fantastic. You don't need to spend any more. This is a $125 soldering station, and it is the best $125 I have ever spent. I have had other soldering stations before. I had one from Radio Shack once. I could never find tips for it. It could never hold temperature. It was awful. Absolutely. I don't think I ever successfully soldered anything with that soldering station. I'm completely honest. But this Hakko is crazy good. It heats up quick. It gets the job done. Now, I also use a quick 861DW desoldering, or I'm sorry, hot air station. And that thing was recommended to me by quite a few YouTubers. And for what I use it for, I pretty much only use it right now for modifying these Bluetooth modules that I install in my stereo rebuilds. I have to remove a couple of connectors that are not used, and they're just in the way. So I bought this to get that done, and I couldn't be happier. Good quality piece of equipment. It was about $350 or $320. It was over $300 to get that. And just today, I just got this new device in. My very first desoldering gun. This is the Hakko FR301. It is a self-contained unit. Most desoldering stations would have had an external pump and power supply. This is all internal. It weighs very little. It comes with its own carrying case. And I've used this now for the first time, and I'm like, how did I live without this for so long? Because when you're desoldering, it's a tedious process. You have to heat it up, and there's two ways to remove the solder from the joint. You can use one of these handheld vacuum pumps. Now, these just get in the way, and they work okay, but they're not great. They're clumsy, and sometimes if you're doing like a delicate area, or like you're working on something very small and delicate, the kickback from this gun, you can misalign it and waste a shot, and then you got to do it again. Also, you got to keep a trash can right next to you, so every single joint, you've got to dump it into the trash a couple of times, cycle it, cock it, and then it's just a pain in the ass, and it wears out your thumb. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of radios these days, and one of the things I have to do with these radios is remove every single one of these light bulbs. All of them need to be replaced. That's what I do. It's what I charge for. And so I got to do all the lamps on both units. There's 2 separate display panels on these. So it's just tiring, time-consuming. Now, the other way to do it is I actually use both methods depending on what I'm doing. But using solder braid. This stuff is indispensable, honestly, even with one of these on hand. This stuff is, it's expensive. It's like 10, 15 bucks a roll, depending on what brand you buy and whether it has rosin in it or not. This is the stuff I prefer. It's the NTE No Clean Wick. I've had good luck with this stuff. I've tried a few different other brands and I wasn't really happy with them. I just got a notification. This customer just paid me. Thank you very much. I won't say how much, but let's just say it's probably about a little bit more than my car payment. Yeah. I never thought I'd make money doing this. And here we are. Here we are. I've done like 4 or 5 radios this month alone. No, between January and February. It's getting nuts, guys. Apparently, a Miata club in Southern California got my name. And I have 1 or 2 radios, I think, coming from one of the club members. And that could explode if... oh, boy. Yowzer. You know, listen, if there's any bit of advice I can give any of my viewers, young or old, become good at something. Become so good at something that you're proud enough of your work that you can market what you do and find an audience. Once you find that audience, perfect your methods and learn as much as you can about what you're doing and just build upon that. I mean, you don't have to be good at everything. You have to be good at something. And you will succeed. You will. You really will. And the second thing I want to point out is to succeed in that whatever you are doing, you have to develop customer service skills. You have to learn to interface with people directly through email, over the phone, or in person. Because as I am now suddenly a small business owner, I am suddenly needing people to send me their products to be repaired and sent back. So I have to interact with people at car shows. I have to interact with people over the phone. I had somebody from Canada call me with a very heavy accent, and she actually watches my videos, and she's probably watching this one, and she knows who she is. And by the way, thank you for your business. But I had to explain to this person what I do and why it's worth sending me, you know, her radio, which is one of this particular model. And I had to convince this person that I'm not only the person for the job, which, by the way, I'm the only person doing them, but she'll be happy with the results after sending me several $100s to get the job done. And guess what? As far as I know, she was happy as a clam. Be good at something. Find something that, I mean, there's so many things that you can do that are profitable that don't involve going to college and studying for 4 years, ending up tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and you can be happy in the end. But that's not what this video is about. Where the hell were we? I just got that notification in the corner of my phone as I'm filming, as I'm talking about how successful this radio repair business is becoming. Yes, desoldering all of these components by hand and with solder wick is time-consuming and just a miserable experience that I don't wish upon anyone. And that's where this guy comes in. So this is the Hakko FR301. I bought it with the optional stand. I'm a little disappointed that this stand isn't in Hakko colors, but I'll take it for whatever. I mean, it wasn't that expensive. But this is actually it fits multiple irons that Hakko produces. Really any soldering iron. It doesn't have to be a Hakko. Your little $10 Radio Shack iron will fit in that too. I got it with the optional copper ball, brass ball cleaner. I like these. These are really nice, by the way. They do wear out, but they're nice. You can refill them. They actually sell this material. You can refill it, and you can do that on your own accord. Anyway, so this is the handheld FR301. Now, I want to go on a little sidebar here. Again, we're on a sidebar, but we're getting somewhere. Everything today is counterfeited. You've got to know this. So if you're buying, I mean, you think, all right, so they counterfeit purses, that we know that. They counterfeit jewelry, watches, paintings. But did you know that there is I assume $1 billion business counterfeiting soldering equipment? No, really. And of course, multimeters. Soldering equipment, especially the good stuff, the stuff that people are going for, the Hackos and the Quicks, and there is a counterfeit for everything you see. So I have taken, like when I'm buying stuff for my business, I'm buying it directly from the manufacturer. My Hacko FX888D, which is the best soldering station you can get for $120. It is the best. I love this. I had it for a year now. And prior to this, I have one at work as well that I use for the occasional repair job. Best soldering iron for the money, hands down. It is reliable. It does the job. The Quick 861DW hot air station. I use that for modifying the Bluetooth modules that I install in these radios. And I've got to remove a couple of surface mount components that I don't need, and they take up space that I do need. And love this thing. I have one of these at work too. I have two of these now, and I'm very satisfied with them. Reliable, quiet, well made, just a good piece of equipment, well designed. So it only comes natural that when I went shopping for a desoldering station, I looked at a couple of options, and some of them are many hundreds of dollars, almost. Some are even over a couple $1,000. Hacko makes a couple of different tiers of equipment. Now, this is their lower end tier. This is just a handheld portable. They call it a portable because it comes with a case. Desoldering gun. And unlike most desoldering stations, it doesn't have an external pump. It's actually built right in. And has this little chamber. Again, there's a counterfeit of this too. It's nuts. Is there nothing they won't counterfeit? So again, once again, went straight to Hacko. Now, this thing cost about as much as my Quick 861 hot air station. I think I paid $320 or so for this. But so far, I'm pretty happy with it. It comes with all the tools you need to clean it. This chamber, to remove it, to clean it out, you just pull this back until it latches, and this little chamber comes out. And there's all your little solder bits. And you just open it up, dump it in the trash. And it has these little filters on the end. These are to prevent any solder that escapes this chamber from getting sucked into the vacuum pump and ruining it. But you just take these little end caps off. And this little dish right here is designed so that the solder is captured and cooled and solidified right on it. And you just kind of take your little, whatever scraping tool you have, and scrape it into the trash and move on with your life. That's it. Really simple stuff. You don't have to clean it every time you use it, but it doesn't hurt. Take care of your stuff. And then you got this little rubber cap. It's just a well thought out piece of equipment, you know? It works. I did read a few reviews on this, and it seemed like I found a couple of bad reviews, which are likely related to counterfeit products. Like I said, counterfeit products are the worst thing ever because it gives good companies a bad name. You know, if I bought a counterfeit, soldering station and it sucked, and yeah, I'm not gonna know, you know, obviously that it's counterfeit. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a bad name. I'm gonna go on the internet, go on YouTube, and I'm gonna trash it and say this thing that I bought on Amazon.com is a complete piece of crap. That's another thing. Amazon. Oh my God. So Amazon you can buy this on Amazon, right? Well, here's the problem. I went and I thought I was I thought I was ordering from Hacko because they have an Amazon Hacko store. When in fact, it's, if you look at where it's shipping from, it's not Hacko. It's from a third party. And then I look up what the third party person sells, and it's all the crap that you typically see counterfeited from China. Clothing, handbags. I'm sorry. I'm not buying a $300 piece of equipment from somebody who sells knockoff handbags. Sorry, Amazon. Bad business model. Anyway. So the purpose of this video was to kind of talk about that, and also we're going to take a look at the Apple IIGS motherboard. Now, let's dig that out of the machine, which should only take me about 30 seconds because it's so easily accessible. All right, so it was the floppy connector. It is missing the threaded lugs, and I want threaded lugs. Now, when I got this machine, I tried fixing it by extracting the threaded lugs from a machine. I think it was an what was it? It was an Apple IIc, actually. And it uses the same connectors. So my plan was to extract the threaded lugs and then, you know, install them in this machine, and that did not work. It failed miserably. Because I think it was the plastic itself. It doesn't have enough structural integrity. So let's check a few other things. So this one, if you look, it has the round Teardown battery. That is not the original. That is a replacement. I installed that in 2016, I think. So motherboard comes out pretty easily on this. Just pretty much snap together. Ooh. My memory module's got a little corrosion going on there on these. Oh, maybe, you know, that could be, I know what that is. I think that was a contact cleaner I might have used. We'll have to clean that up now that we know it's there. So the board, all you got to do, let's see. I think the front cover has to come off. Yes, it does. That's easy enough. Yeah. Without breaking anything. I think we can do it. Yes, we can. I think there was a time when Apple plastics were of better quality than they were in the 90s, and yeah, this is an example of that. So let's pop the board. There are caps on this board. I didn't realize that. There's quite a few actually, but they're not leaking. There's no signs of leakage anywhere. Here's another one. So yeah, we've got all these caps here. Should they be replaced? Probably. Is it necessary? Probably not. Thing works fine otherwise. There's a big one right there. A 1016. I actually have one of those. Let's see. What do we got up there? 16 volt. 16 volt 1000, 20% through. Yeah, I do have those. Actually, I might even have the little ones too. I'm not going to replace them though. I mean, I think they're fine. So this thing was made in the 80s. Those caps are of really good quality compared to later ones. So I'm not too concerned. And the board is actually snapped in. You just have to undo these little snaps. Oh, thought I missed that one. Okay, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Now, if you know anything about Apple history, this machine was not designed by Woz at all. Woz had much cleaner designs, but this was a post-Woz device. I believe he might have had some input on it. Like, I think they may have consulted. I have to double check on that one. I think he might have been consulted on the design, but I don't remember exactly what his involvement entailed. So we'll have to table that thought for a moment. All right, so we got the board out. That was easy enough. Now you might be asking me, well, do you have a connector? And I will answer that with an affirmative yes. So I had a dead Apple IIc, and I salvaged, before I scrapped the machine, I forget why it was dead. I don't remember why, but it doesn't matter. I salvaged these connectors off of it before I trashed it. So I have both the floppy and the display adapter, or plug, actually. Wait a second. What is... Yeah, that's your display, and there is your floppy connector. So we need to take... I have that backwards. This is your display, and this is your floppy. I'm really okay, guys. I swear to God. All right, let's get her done. See if I can position this in a way that makes sense. So I'm going to warm up the iron. We're going to just turn it on. Now, the Hakko FR301 has multiple temperature settings. It's analog, but that's the beauty in it. There's an analog rotary knob here that selects between position 1, which is 350, position 2 is 400, all the way up to 500 degrees. We're doing leaded solder, so I'm going to probably just leave it at 2. Maybe go a no, I think 2 should be fine. That's 400 C. I think that's plenty hot enough for this. I've got to remove this shielding, which is... How is this attached exactly? It should be easy to remove. Now this machine, I've already replaced the PS2 ports. Is it this one? Yeah, it was this one. So I've replaced the PS2 ports on this already. Did I say PS2? I'm so sorry, guys. You're probably smashing your heads at the keyboard after every befuddlement I create here. Let's remove this. Yes, shielding. Please don't injure your heads on account of me. Appreciate that. I've never actually had this off, have I? I don't think I have. Well, there's a first for everything, I guess. There we go. We got her. We got it. Okay. Sorry for the shitty camera work. That's all I know. So I got this connector that I want to put in here. So I'm going to desolder the old one. Now, when the light goes out, that means it's up to temperature. See, there it goes. It's flickering on and off now. It's cycling. All right, let's see how we do. Let me try to get the camera at a better angle. I'll just throw it on top of the light so you can at least see what I'm doing. We can demonstrate this once and for all. Move that radio aside. Now, if I can't get good, clean pulls out of these holes, then I'm going to abort and just resolder it. The reason that I'm so weirded out by this is when I was removing these connectors from the machine that they were donated from, I actually ended up pulling a few tracers off the other side of the board. I don't want to see that happen. I could repair them, but we want to keep that to a minimum. Oh, shit. They're riveted. They're riveted on, aren't they? Okay, I've got a hunch that I might be wrong about these being actual rivets. I think these ports are removable without drilling. If I have to drill, I will. I just don't want to. I think it's pretty obvious. So let's do this. I got rivet guns. All right, let's just see what she can do, huh? Let's just see what this little guy can do. Oh, wow. What a clean... Look at that. Look how clean that was. Can you see it, guys? Oh, so buttery smooth and so clean. The trick is to let it sit on the connector or on the joint long enough to melt the solder throughout the joint. It's not a bad idea. Periodically take the little reamer tool that comes with this thing. By the way, it comes with this really long flat blade screwdriver. I don't know what it's for yet, but it comes with a reamer that you use to run down the barrel. Make sure it's not obstructed. Very good thing to have. Look how clean that's going. I may have to drill those out. I hope I don't, because I don't want to make a mess. I couldn't have done this with solder wick. No way. Not with solder wick and not with a hand pump. No way. And I'm running it on its lowest heat setting too. Well, just about. Just a little bit above. And that's all she needs. Missed one. Okay. Now we're not out of the woods yet. Those pins could still be stuck on the reverse side of the board. So what we want to do is kind of flex the connector a little bit and see if the pins move. Like this one here, a little bit. Yeah, this pin moves. There we go. Kind of knock them free. Before you even attempt to remove that connector, you've got to make sure that nothing is, and we're going to do it again with an unheated tool like this pick right here, just to make sure that nothing is sticking. Everything is free to move. Because what's going to happen is if we try to remove this connector, whether we drill it or not, it's going to rip the land off the other side, which would be just devastating. Okay, so we're done with the desoldering tool. All we're going to do is clean the tip. And I'm going to just run the reamer down the barrel just to do it. Make sure it's nice and clean and free for the next use. And just shut it off. The thing I don't like about this is the power switch is in the back here. and the light isn't facing you, the operator. So it's very easy for someone to just forget it's on, walk away, and leave it that way. I'd be lying if I said that didn't happen to me at any point in my life, because it certainly has. I have walked away from soldering irons that were on for, one case, I think the maximum I think I did was about a week. I had a soldering iron sitting on this bench, just an old Radio Shack one. About a week it was on, no joke. I didn't even realize it until I came back in here. I'm like, oh, whoops. Not good, guys. Not good. I am gonna recap this board now that I think about it. I think it's worthwhile. I got the 16 1000s. Is it 2 of them or just 1? Let's see. I mean, I've got them and I don't use them in anything, so... Oh, I only have 1 giant one. Okay, so forget that. And I got a spot for them, but I don't have them. Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, maybe I will do an order at Mauser. We'll do those. We'll do the little ones, and we'll just do it. Just get it done. I think it's worthwhile. So let's go ahead and drill. You're going to hear 4-letter words you didn't even know existed. Okay. Position my camera here. All right. We're going to start off with a 7/64 bit. I'm going to do 1 and just see how it goes. Make sure I'm on low speed. Now, it's actually brass. See, there's a lot of brass filings in there. Now remember, you got a battery in this thing too, so we don't want to get nuts. Yeah, we don't want to get stupid. All right, let's drill the other one too. I don't know why they were solder filled, but they were. Easy does it. That could be gold. Probably was. Okay, now we're going to move one size up until the rivet separates. And then we're going to hope and pray that we get this right. Okay, here we go. Unfortunately, the rivet is now spinning. Okay. All right. How many rows must a man walk by? I'm gonna just do that. Let's try this. No. There we go. That one's released. Gotta cock the drill off to the side. And that'll do it. Now the port has been removed. There is no damage to the board, as you can clearly see. 0 damage. Now we can put the new one in. Why Apple used rivets, I'll never understand. Speed of manufacturing, maybe? But they did what they did. Can't undo it. Okay. This is where we find out that we had the wrong connector the entire time. And this is all just a lesson that the universe is teaching me to leave things alone that aren't completely, utterly broken. If you're wondering why my fingers are yellow, no, I didn't take up smoking. It's from UV dye. Amelia's 2016 CX5 has decided to develop a coolant leak. So I poured some UV dye in there, and I think it's just a radiator, but I could be wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and before I solder anything in, I'm going to rivet this in place. So let me go grab my rivet gun and some aluminum rivets, and we're going to get this all lined up, and then we'll solder it. Okay, class, can anyone tell me why we are using aluminum rivets and not steel rivets? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Bueller? V Westlife? Lenderman? Okay. Reason is, steel is too hard. If I were to use a steel rivet in this application, it would crush the connector, possibly even the board. The amount of clamping force needed to collapse a steel rivet would be way too much. So let's see what we got here. I got a couple options. None of them are particularly good, but that's okay. That could do. But what will happen if I do this? So this rivet has a large cap at the end, if you will. Now, what could happen is if I use this rivet, it could wear through the tracers around. So we want to keep an eye on that. That could be bad. I've got this one here, which is just about the right size. But once again, there's a possibility that it could wear through those tracers. Do I have anything smaller? Oh, let's see. Where was that one? Over there. You want to be real careful about that. What I might do instead is put the rivet in the other way. I think that's a good idea. All right, so I got two rivets of the same size. I just need to put the right size, die in my gun. Looks like I got it. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to put this in place. Let me just zoom out so you can see everything here. All right, here we are. Okay. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. I'm going to stand up and do this. Okay. All right, it broke without any drama. All right, that was a failure. It moved and it didn't clamp where it needed to. So let's do that differently. This is, I think this is why I put off this project for so long, because I just really didn't want to do it. All right, the problem is we used a rivet that was potentially too short for the application. So we're going to use one that's not too short for the application. How's that sound? Wait, are there bits of it still in here too? Yeah, there are. I reckon. No, that's fine. I'm afraid to solder it before I rivet it, because the force of the rivet gun, if things don't go... If what just happened while it was soldered in place, the risks would be far and great. It would have ripped the connectors or the traces right out of the board. You don't want to do that. Like, I don't even think I need to explain why. Okay, this is going to be fun. Here we go. Okay, cock up on it. connector looks to be lined up correctly. The rivet didn't go expanding on top of anything it shouldn't. That was a success. Okay, how about this one? Here we go. Ready, set, clamp. Okay. All right, how does it look? Oh, it looks great. The thing is, there's no encroachment over the designated area. We're going to solder those rivets. All the pins are intact. The port is perfectly straight. The board isn't damaged. And I still have my dignity. Okay, that was fun. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to grab some flux. And we're going to solder these rivets to the ground. The grounding pad that surrounds the rivet hole. And probably doesn't need to be done, I mean, but I think it should to prevent some kind of galvanic corrosion ever happening there. Grab my solder. And we'll heat these up and we'll just solder them in place. What would WAS do, right? WWWD. What would WAS do? And it almost looks factory. Well, no. Not really. Almost. Maybe. Maybe. The other question I'm going to have is, will there be enough clearance? Because these rivets are a little bit thicker than the factory rivets were. And, you know, that has me a little concerned that it might cause a problem. But I don't think so. I don't think it will. Okay. That's good enough for government work. Now we need to solder all the pins individually. To do this, you want to heat the pin. So the soldering iron tip is going to rest against the pin and contact the solder pad at the same time. You want good, even heat transmission between the two. And once it's on there for like a few milliseconds, then you want to start feeding in your solder. Actually, I'm doing it a little bit early. Getting the hot solder to flow down in there also helps to heat the joint up at the same time. So there we go. Okay. Done. Now we got to make sure that we don't have any metal shavings on the board. We did just drill holes in the freaking rivets, so that would be devastating if that were the case. I'm going to just pour a little bit of solder into the rivets. Heat these up a little bit more. kind of dress it up a little bit. Yeah, it's not getting hot enough to take it though. Oh, there it goes. There we go. No, maybe not. That's fine. That's gonna be just fine. Little blobby looking in appearance, but you know, I think there'll be enough clearance on the other side for that to not be a problem. I'm gonna do my best to clean up some of that stuff, some of the flux. I don't want to leave it looking like that. It looks like I might have a bridge here. No, it's an illusion. Always check for bridges. If you're new to soldering, make sure that you're not joining any joints together that shouldn't be. It happens it can happen easily. Nobody's judging. But that does look awful close. So I'm going to turn my iron back on here. Is it still up to... Yeah, okay, good. This one right here, it looks a little close. So I'm just going to throw my iron between there a little bit and clean it up. Okay, there we go. That should do her. Check the other side for metal shavings. I'm going to run a paintbrush over it anyway, just in case. Somehow the fan connector got munged. Why is there a fan connector on this? There's no fan. I just realized that. There's a... Oh, wait. No. No. Why would there be a fan connector? Little side note. This is an earlier board. The earlier 2GS boards were designed to fit in the Apple IIGS cases. And you know that to be true because if you look right here, there's a keyboard connector, a numeric keypad connector. So these can fit into an Apple IIe case if you've got one. These boards were sold as an upgrade option for the 2E. And let's see, 22 microfarad, how many volts? 16, 22. Do I have any of those? 16. But no, I don't. I don't have any. I got 2200s. So I'm not going to do the caps right now. I'm just gonna let them ride for now. The thing runs. I'm not going to worry myself sick over it. But yeah, this is designed to fit in a 2E shell. The later 2GS boards did not have that option. Not really surprising, but that's just how things are. And yeah, let me check my battery while I'm in here. Let's see if our battery is still holding a charge. That battery was done almost 10 years ago. Let me fire up my my Fluke 45. That could have been bad. I'm gonna drop CDs onto DC volts. I chose not to do the replaceable battery holder because I wanted it to be stock. I wanted it to look factory. So I know, right? Who cares? But battery's at 3.6 volts. It's still healthy. So that should be fine. And that's while it's in circuit and currently creating a draw. So that's pretty good. Now let me clean this up. We'll put it back in the case and see if I screwed this thing up royally. I know you're dying to see that because I am too, I guess. All right, let's see how she did. So far, so good. Yeah, it was the floppy connector that we worked on, so it should boot right off the... Yep, there. Successful surgery that we just completed on this old 2GS. I'd say this machine is due for a full recap, but I'm not making it a priority. None of them appear to be leaking, and the machine is functional. So there's a lot of capacitors in these, both in the display power supply, and logic board, and the floppy drives. You gotta consider those too. They're not immune to capacitor failure. I don't know what game is in there, but we're gonna. Oh, Zany Golf, my favorite. I might do a redo in the retro bright on this at some point. I'm really thinking about it. It's not the best quality retro bright I've seen. It's pretty pitiful, actually. But it looks all right. I mean, it's not like I have to run out and do it right now, but see if we get sound. Yep. Okay, Zany Golf, one of my favorite games for the 2GS. It takes full advantage of the graphics and the sound capabilities. But unfortunately, because the 2GS doesn't have a hard drive, it constantly seeks disk access. So that's an unfortunate side effect. But let's see. Make sure the mouse... Oh yeah, we got mouse action here. Let's see if I can get a hole-in-one. No. Not bloody likely. That's too hard. Oh, got it. I think was it a par 2? Hamburger hole. I also cleaned the memory card, card edge connector. So what that was I think it was deoxit that had turned green for some reason. So yeah. I think Mark Mothersbaugh did the sound for this game. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was him. It's his style. You have to time it just right. I believe the hole is under the burger. That's the problem. It's a par 3. See, there it is. I can't. I lose. Oh, 3-stroke award. And the burger starts to jump a little more. It makes me hungry watching that. But you gotta time it just right. Yeah, it's the hardest one. Anyway, it works. And, okay. Now, I gotta be honest. Now, that was a repair that I've been putting off for years. I've had those connectors sitting on my desk at work for the better part of, I want to say 6 or 7 years. It's been that long, maybe longer. I don't remember how long I've had this machine, but that repair has been on my bucket list for quite some time. It is now done. I can put that issue to rest. I can put my rivet gun away. See, when you're working on old machines, it pays to have a lot of tools that you wouldn't think about. You wouldn't think that you would need a rivet gun to fix an Apple IIGS, but here we are. I needed a rivet gun to fix that machine. And a drill. This connector I'm going to probably hang on to. It's just this is the display connector. We'll hang on to it. I'll just throw it in my random parts bin. And there it is for safekeeping. And put that away. Clean up my... clean up my desk or my bench for the next radio to come in through the door. I just got paid for that one. I got paid for that one. That's good money. Yeah. All right. Until then, guys, you have a great day.